And hello and welcome. We are live. It's the WrestleRamble post NXT review. I am Luke Owen. This is El Fakador Laurie Blake, and over there is Randy Andy Datson, who'll be monitoring your super chat. So get those into him. If you're watching this on the catch up, leave us a comment down below. Give us a subscribe, press the thumbs up, have a super click party, and yeah, thanks for joining us. And to be honest, I really want us to do how, the biggest news of this show is that they've changed the intro and there's no West Side Story bit anymore where you're just standing in a row singing the song together. So, finally, that's the big update for me this week. But this is my first episode of NXT I've seen in about 3 weeks. And my 2-week holiday, and then I didn't watch it last week because of business. So actually, it was quite nice getting back into the black and yellow brand because I haven't a Scooby-Doo what's going on at the moment.
Not a lot.
No?
Some very good, so Io Shirai, Shayna Baszler had a very good cage match last week.
Very good. Was it worth me going out my way to watch?
I think it is. I think it actually genuinely is a really well worked, very clever cage match. Comparative to, say, Kofi and Dolph's one.
Which I also didn't see.
Yeah, that was very and had a good finish. This was really cleverly plotted and well thought out throughout the whole thing, and had a really good finish too.
Yeah.
The first round of the breakout tournament between Angel Garza and whatever they're calling DJZ now. I can't remember.
Oh, is it the DJ? Because these names came up. And obviously, Cameron Grimes was the only one that I actually recognized because I'd heard that Trevor Lee had changed his name. And I assumed that they were, people who have signed fairly recently. But because they've all changed their names, I never Scooby.
So it's DJ...
I thought I'll pause it and I'll find out who's in the tournament. I had no idea. So DJZ's one of them.
DJZ is Joaquin Wilde.
That was it, Joaquin Wilde.
Wow.
It was a really good match. Yeah. And a real star-making performance for Angel Garza as well, who just had... He just oozes charisma, that man.
Is ACH in the tournament?
He is. He's Jordan Miles now, I believe.
Oh, cool.
So I imagine maybe that's the last round of the tournament.
Yeah.
Of the first rounds of tournament.
What does the winner of the tournament get?
They get a title shot of their opportunity.
Really?
A title opportunity of their choosing.
Oh, cool. So they could go for the NXT Championship.
That's what I say.
They could go for... They could go for the tag titles if they found a partner, or is it's just very would you assume they're going to go for the North American title?
I feel like you would assume that they were going to go for the North American title, but I mean, it doesn't seem like there's any harm in them challenging Adam Cole and being like, let's have an Adam Cole match. But exactly, I think the final, I don't know how many weeks is it left before Toronto? Because they're currently doing one thing a week, so I feel like we're kind of running out of weeks before Toronto, so one of these matches will be at Toronto. Surely. The final will be,
Randy, when is SummerSlam?
It's like the 13th, 14th of August, something like that. I'll find out exactly.
So we've got all of July and a bit of August left. Okay, yes, they've got 6 weeks or so to do it. But anyway, we thought we would talk about this. Thank you. We thought we'd talk about this breakout tournament match. It was between Isaiah Swerve Scott and Cameron Grimes, the former Shane Strickland and Trevor Lee. Shane Strickland from Lucha Underground, and he was Evolve. I think he was Evolve champion at one point as well. Trevor Lee, famously from Impact Wrestling. So it was quite cool, actually, seeing both. So we saw Trevor Lee at Progress Super Strong Style.
We did.
Cutting a wonderful promo.
Yeah.
And
flipping a bottle.
Yeah, and he just casually just flipped the bottle because he was like, I've come to the ring. And he landed it perfectly.
On the apron.
And
everyone in the front row got up and went, oh! And he just goes... It was so good.
And that
was a dab for people listening to the audio version.
And he cut this amazing promo because he had a match with Ilya Dragunov where he was essentially just like, you and I... We're NXT buddies. We're NXT buddies. We're we're on the same page. Granted, I'm from the proper version of NXT.
Yeah.
Because Ilya's in NXT UK. It was really, really good heel stuff. And so Cameron Grimes won the match, which much to the crowd's chagrin, because they were super behind Isaiah Scott. So he's who I wanted to talk about because holy heckins, he's very good at professional wrestling.
Isn't he, though?
Yeah.
Isn't he just? I thought they both exhibited very good things. I think...
Big fan of Trevor Lee.
Yeah, Trevor Lee or Cameron Grimes was doing a more basic I'm being the heel here version, whereas Scott has very flashy offense.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really, really cool.
There's a moment when, Grimes is working over him for quite some time because he hits him with this like really wicked forearm, and then he's working over him for a while, and at one point tries to throw him out the ring, and Scott, goes over, just puts his hands down onto the apron and sort of somersaults over and lands on his feet.
Yeah.
Effortless.
Like it ain't no thing.
Yeah, like it really was no thing at all for him.
Yeah, I love this. And this led to like a... they sort of almost did the Will Ospreay moment where like they tried to go round and they showed Grimes off on the other side of the ring celebrating to the fans, and then he notices and runs to try and get him, and Scott slides back in, and as Grimes goes to slide back in, Scott does this amazing little sort of cartwheel on the ropes splash.
Yeah.
It just lands on top of him as he slides in. It's really cool.
I felt like we had this moment when we were talking about it was the Fatal 4-Way at Fyter Fest between, I'm going to have to run through these names here, MJF, Hangman Page, who else was in that match?
Havoc.
Jimmy Havoc
Jungle
and
Boy.
Jungle Boy. I was trying to think. It was the fourth one. I couldn't remember. It was Jungle Boy when he did that cannonball spot.
Oh yeah,
like sort of like it was a cannonball splash senton thing off the corner, and you're like, I honestly I don't really know what I just saw. It was just
parkour shenanigans.
Yeah, and that was the same thing. He did this move, and I was like, I'm not 100% sure what he did, but it was cool, and I really liked it. And so I was then actually very much surprised when he didn't win, because the crowd really picked up whenever he was on offense. The crowd just instantly bought into this guy as like a made star. Just absolutely loved him from day dot.
I think my one thing to say to that would be like it's probably a booking scenario in the fact that they want a big heel.
And Lee can cut those heel promos.
Lee can cut heel promos.
Grimes,
and
we should call him Grimes from now.
Yeah, Grimes can cut heel promos, and he's very good. So and I think if you've got maybe ACH, I feel like might win his match, and then it's Jonah Rock and somebody else who I can't remember who it is.
It's the problem when they change the names. You just see like this blank sheet of names. You're like,
Jonah Rock, Bronson Reed, the.
Good name,
yeah,
mate.
And then who is the other one? Randy, can you look it up?
Can you do some research for us, producer Randy? Get on the old YouTubes or the Google's machine for that.
What was the question? Sorry, I was
reading. Who's in the breakout tournament? Who's left in the tournament?
Because it's Boa versus Jordan Miles, and it's I don't know who Bronson Reed is.
But it's all right.
It's like Cluedo.
We've got producer
I don't
Randy
know what the people are called. But I think like you're gonna have the big boys match on one side, and then you're going to have the technical side of things, because that's the way the bracket is kind of fallen. So we're going to get this semi-final clash between Grimes, and I feel like Jonah Rock would win his match, but I don't know. He might be against someone amazing. I don't know. And then you can have a big boy clash there. But I think also just to keep a heel going through the tournament, because that's a very Triple H thing to do in a tournament.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Like Pete Dunne is the prime example in the UK championship.
That's a very, very good point. And Lee makes so much sense to go through to the final as well and be like the real cocky heel in the final, and then you have your big baby face win at the end of it.
That's the thing. Triple H loves to have a very respectful tournament apart from one element, and in the same as the Cruiserweight Classic with Brian Kendrick. Like Kendrick was the sort of like I'm being the bad boy kind of thing. It's just. He always likes to do that.
Yeah, I think Kendrick in that Cruiserweight tournament, he was the babyface. He was like in his final run. It was after that where he was in the.
Oh, it was after that when he became bad boy. Yeah.
But they did the sort of roll through flatliner by
that was cool.
Strickland then by Scott, which was really, really awesome.
Yeah, it was like a little jump up whoop.
Yeah. And big set out powerbomb by Grimes, and then Scott did this sort of like step up drop kick thing that was like really, really like it was almost like I've completely forgotten her name now, but it's like the scorpion kick that she does. And then he does the Fosbury flop, but we get this big double stump by Grimes, as I've written it, for a shock win. But really, as you say, it makes sense because someone like Lee, like going through to the final, storyline-wise, is perfect booking.
Yeah, but the finale of the match, before the double stomp, was that tilt-a-whirl slam, the back-flipping slam thing where it just looked like they collided, but they happened to do a whole flip at the same time. And the commentators are just like, I think Grimes got the better of that. I don't really know.
I'm not quite
entirely sure what happened there.
I'm not entirely sure. Before we carry on about Scott, have you got an update for us, Randy?
I do. So it's Jordan Miles versus Boa. Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed versus Dexter Lumis, and Angel Garza versus Joaquin Wilde.
Can you find out who they originally were?
I can. Particularly, I mean, Bronson. I think
Bronson Reed was Jonah Rock.
Yeah.
So while you're doing that, let's talk about Isaiah Scott, because he is. When he came out and he got that massive reaction, for his NXT debut, and I mean, I don't think he'd debut in the 3 weeks I wasn't here, so I'm assuming this is his NXT debut. Cool. Yeah. So he an NXT debut here, and the crowd are instantly behind him, and I just got those sort of Sami Zayn vibes of like when the NXT audience can get behind a guy. And Sami is I think the best example of this. Sami was NXT's boy. He was their numero uno that they wanted to see all the time. They wanted to see win all the time, and they wanted to see him win the big one. And they told this amazing, years-long storyline of him finally getting to the pinnacle of NXT and winning the NXT championship, only to have Kevin Owens come in and kill that dream and crush that dream straight away. But the crowd never stopped loving Sami Zayn. And I think if you kind of give Scott a sort of similar push, because he's so charismatic and he's so technically gifted in the ring, you could have your next big breakout star in this. Because really, the title of this video is he the future of NXT? Not going by this tournament, he lost.
Yeah, absolutely
in the first round.
But that's the shortcut to getting the title shot, isn't it? That's the shortcut to being in contention. You don't want him to win that if you want to give him the Sami Zayn push.
Exactly, yeah. If you want to tell the story of, you got knocked out in the first round of the tournament, mate. You're no breakout star. But then you could build him as a breakout star from that. I think you could really make a huge star out of this guy in NXT.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got that potential, doesn't he? I think it's there aren't many people who walk into into Full Sail when people don't know who they are. People know who he is, obviously, but he's also in a tournament in which a lot of people are quite well known, and he's got the biggest reaction of the 4 guys we've seen so far. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone else matches that sort of ovation that he got on that specific night. Because obviously I think they've probably filmed most of this on the same...
I would have thought so, yeah.
On the same evening. So the fans are getting worked up throughout about all these different debuts.
Yeah, it really did feel like that this was their pick. The crowd had already picked the guy that they wanted to win this tournament. So in theory, him losing might make them want to see him more and want to see him win something off the back of it.
Yeah, I think I'd be interested to see if it's one of those situations as well where he's not in the tournament anymore and the tournament's going to play through to Toronto. So is he going to get any other TV time in between, or are they just going to keep him off and then bring him back post-Toronto for a big sort of babyface return?
So... Yeah, so the tournament, just to fill the gaps in for me, is the final at Toronto.
I'm speculating that it is.
Okay, right.
I don't know.
I think that is the idea.
That's the idea that it ends.
But do you want the names of these people?
Yes, please.
So Dexter Lumis is Samuel Shaw, who was
he was in TNA. Yeah. He had the Dexter gimmick.
The gut check. He had a gut check winner according to this. Jordan Miles is ACH. Isaiah is Shane Strickland. Boa is Yanbo Wang, who's one of the only Chinese people who actually stayed on. I think he's the only one, actually. And then, Bronson Reed is your mate. What did you say? Isaiah Rock.
Jonah
Rock. Sorry, Isaiah Rock.
There's too many names now.
There are. And
they're less good.
And you know the rest.
What was the
Cameron Grimes?
What did they change Eric Bugenhagen's name to?
Rick Boogs.
Rick Boogs. That is so much more rubbish than Eric Bugenhagen.
Rick Bugenhagen would have been fine.
If you had to change it to something.
Yeah.
Rick Buge? I can't even remember. It's that boring.
Well, it could be Buge.
But it's weird that he's got the opposite treatment to Robert Roode. Bobby Roode went to a more formal name.
Yeah.
And then Eric Bugenhagen goes to a kiddie, it's Rick Bugs.
Robert Roode is going to be one of those guys that come the end of this year will all go, God, do you remember his 1 week push? And we're like, oh, I forgot about the Robert Roode 1 week push where he had the moustache.
Unfortunately, it was all based around his facial hair, and that stuff does grow out.
Yeah, it does. Well, yeah, you can trim it down. But Randy Andy Datson, what's heading up in the Super Chats?
What is it indeed? As usual, we have Tim Arndt is heading us up with, so the Forgotten Sons will interfere in the tag title match next week to screw with Regal. Will that lead to a Lorcan Birch versus Forgotten Sons feud?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I didn't really know what was going on in that segment.
Well, so last week, the Forgotten Sons came out for a match against Street Profits. Street Profits' big return to Full Sail. And it was a non-title match. And the Street Profits said, you're always banging on about having a title match, so we're going to give you a title match. And then they won.
Right.
So the Forgotten Sons are annoyed that... They were annoyed this week that Street Profits shouldn't be allowed to make a match. Which was a match that was advantageous for them, but then they got themselves disqualified and lost. So
I see what you're saying.
It didn't really make it didn't make a hell of a lot of sense.
No, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Apparently, the word on the grapevine is that the reason why the Street Profits were on Raw this week is because Bischoff's not at SmackDown at the moment. Like Heyman, the word is Heyman's got the advantage because he's an on-screen character anyway, so he's always at the show. So he's not in control yet. But he is around.
He can plant his
seeds. Whereas Bischoff won't be having his first day in the office until after Extreme Rules. Mm-hmm. So Heyman had made the strategic point to have the Street Profits show up on Raw so he can have them as a Raw act because he doesn't want them going to SmackDown.
And it's because WWE is worried about losing young viewers to AEW, and they think because Street Profits are young and hip, same as Ricochet, that they're going to push them because they will the young viewers will watch that and go, hey, that guy's just like... I mean, I know I look at the Street Profits and go, whoa, I can relate to those guys because I'm a bit of a Street Profit myself. So.
You are indeed, yeah, with that nerf.
That nerf throw,
nerf throwing. What else is going on in the Super Chats, mate?
Aaron Watson is next in to say, good morning, gentlemen. It's actually good afternoon for us, but good morning, Aaron. Says, do you think NXT will eventually be moved to TV or maybe even live one day?
Well, that's there's been a lot of talk of that with WWE going over to Fox, that NXT could move over to FS1. And I could see WWE doing it as a political play once AEW announces their TV, because they haven't announced a date yet. And I could see WWE striking up a deal with Fox to put NXT on
Wednesday night
directly against it if it's on like a Wednesday night.
And I think also that's given legitimacy, I think, by Heyman having the Street Profits turn up to Raw with their belts. I get that, like, you're trying to get out ahead and like corner this thing, but you're also, when the other NXT guys came up, they didn't have all their paraphernalia with them. They were basically barely NXT guys on the show because we'd forgotten all their characters and everything else. So they were sort of just like, here's some guys that you've never seen before. Old hardcore WWE audience that watches Raw still. The only people who are left watching it. But yeah, this was kind of now I feel like NXT is being brought in to become the third brand that it was always intended to be.
Yeah. Whether it goes live or not, I think it's a different matter because I think they've got like a nice little setup with their taping schedule that they do to lead up into takeovers. So I don't know if they would go live on a weekly touring basis.
I think they would film it and put it out.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Well, like NXT is a money loser currently. It doesn't make any money. Perhaps with the TV deal, there is some money to be put into it.
But NXT is an investment as a show.
Well, that's
right?
it.
So
NXT,
exactly.
It doesn't matter if it's a money loser.
The show is to give people the exposure for when they go up to the main roster. So there's already a pocket of audience that know who they are. So you don't have to build them in comparison to like AJ Styles. You know, like it's very difficult to get over when the show already has Seth Rollins, AJ, Roman, Finn Balor, and all these other guys running around that everyone's really interested in. So when some random turns up, they're like, oh, who now?
I haven't got time for these new people.
What's happening with Finn?
Well, where is Finn?
Yeah, exactly. Where's Shinsuke?
Yeah. They were on TV last week for a brief moment.
They were. Fabio Geronimo, which is a wonderful name. Unfortunately, you've asked the same question as the last guy, but because you did donate your hard-earned cash, we can say, my question to you is if WWE should consider turning NXT into their real third brand show to face AEW's Wednesday Night Dynamite. Big fan of yours. Greetings from Brazil. And I will say, Good luck to Fabio on, well, if he's a football fan, because Brazil are in the Copa America final against Peru this weekend. Obviously, Luke will be cheering on Peru.
He had to bring up football, didn't he?
I'm a boring sportsman.
Hey, I was just being nice to
Chomping at the
I'm
bit
a young
there.
kid.
Sorry, Fabio.
I like the Street Profits, but I prefer golf.
Sorry about them. I'm playing golf with housemate Simon on Saturday.
That'd be fun for you.
Will Carpenter says SummerSlam main event, not from North Carolina. So I think he was. What do you think will be the SummerSlam main event?
Roman versus Shane.
Oh, the showman, the greatest showman.
Roman versus Shane, like to
not a main
finally end this feud. But crucially,
I can see it opening the show. I can't see it ending.
no, they're the biggest stars, Andy. Of course, they've got to main event the
Seth
show.
versus Becky for Maria Kanellis' baby.
We've already Seth versus Baron
it.
again. No, Roman versus Shane. I think even if it's not the main event, it'll be pushed as if it is the main event.
4 out of 5
and
falls match.
it will be for the WWE Championship, which Shane will win off Kofi on an episode of SmackDown.
If that happens, I
I'm
quit.
hoping that entire plan goes away when Bischoff arrives. Or unless Shane forms his own NWO.
Yeah. What if Eric wins it? What if Bischoff wins the WWE title?
that would be
we
it,
just we just take Shane out of the equation, and just put Bischoff in there instead.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Let's do 3 more for
David Arquette.
3 more for now. Owen Towers says, when AW start their weekly TV, will you be doing reviews of the shows?
Yes. Yes, we will.
who?
Particularly because SmackDown's moving to Fridays, and we don't want to work Saturdays, so it'll essentially replace the SmackDown reviews.
I'll do SmackDown for you, Owen. Mr. Doback says, what do you think about Robbie Eagles joining Chaos?
I hadn't heard. I hadn't heard that.
Apparently he had an incredible match with
Ospreay.
Ospreay.
It's unsurprising.
I think it got
It was
4
with
3/4
It was with Ospreay, and then he defected at the end.
Oh, okay. That's news to me.
And lastly, and I know we get a lot of silly questions on here, but we're going to go serious for now because Ginger says, what is the largest animal you think you could single-handedly cling film to a lamppost?
Oh, largest animal you could single.
Is the animal
Live?
implicit? Is it complicit in the plan, or is it?
I don't want to.
Or am I
touch dead
fighting an
animals.
animal onto a?
Yeah, that changes the question really. Then
Because I reckon I could cling film a beached whale to a lamppost.
single-handedly.
Yeah, but I would do the lamppost. I wouldn't do the whale.
You'd like Taskmaster it and think
yeah,
outside
I'd think
the
outside
box.
the box, and I
So
would
if the
upend the
whale-
lamppost, and then I would do the lamppost to the whale.
No, but you'd have to get underneath the whale.
You could do it to the
No,
top.
you wouldn't. There's so much surface area.
Yeah, there's loads of surface area in a beached whale. It'd be fine.
I was going to
Just
say
go around one of the flips.
I was gonna say a panda, but all right.
Either one.
Anyway, we will
Randy wants to suffocate a panda now.
we'll get on with the rest of the show and talk about NXT.
Yes, we will crack on with the rest of the show. Thank you very much for all your super chats. We'll have more of those later on. So yeah, the show opened. No one is singing the theme song anymore. So instantly, NXT has gained half a star in my books. It becomes a better show when they're not just standing there like dorks. But then we did start off with Aliyah. They dusted her off once again for more of a push, I think.
The fart that never dies.
Yeah, Aliyah, she was taking on Mia Yim. Nigel was singing Queen's One Vision.
I did enjoy that. That was
You were
very
singing
funny.
One's Vision, and then I said Renee then. And then Beth Phoenix goes, "Are you a poet, Nigel?" He was like, "You idiot, it's Queen!" Which made me laugh. And then, Yim won. Is the short story.
Yim won in a match that didn't make anyone look good, I don't think. There was the one amazing bit, and the bit that got the biggest pop for this otherwise incredibly flat match in a crowd that weren't interested because Aliyah was in it. Surprise! Was the bit where Aliyah went to get up and Mia Yim just went at her, and she went and jumped out of her skin and ran back to the corner, and everyone went crazy. That was great. I didn't think this match made anyone look particularly great. Like Mia Yim is fantastic and really good working in certain scenarios. This just didn't do it for me.
I mean, I think it made Yim look pretty good because she did beat both of them, essentially. She did dives onto both of them when Bourne was sort of trying to interfere. And then after the match, she threw Bourne into the steps as well. So she beat 2 people. And
I enjoyed that bit at the end. I just thought the actual work of the match was a bit, like, all over the place.
And then she throws Bourne into the steps, and then she goes up to the commentary desk, fluffs the lines a little bit, but challenges Shayna Baszler to the NXT Women's Championship. So perhaps that's the match we're going to get at Toronto.
She's going to whoop your ass.
Yes, hit the protect your neck. So she challenges Baszler. So yeah, I don't know if are we getting this at Toronto? Do we know, or is it? I mean, we're not going to go to spoiler territory, I suppose. Actually, so don't answer that because I have no idea. But I assume
I do, but I've forgotten. So
I assume that's the direction we're going, because we'd also we're moving Io out that picture so she can face Candice, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Sounds good. We then got, speaking of Io, a recap of that cage match from last week. Io doing like a moonsault off the top of the cage. Looked really fun, actually.
It's really good.
Yeah. And then she turned heel after the match and hit like a suplex onto a seated chair.
Yeah, I mean, that was brutal. The beatdown was horrible.
Yeah.
And I loved her doing her... I read a thing that said, like, the Japanese Io was using at the end, like, there's not any words particularly strong enough in Japanese to be considered like too rude for TV, but what she was doing was as close as you could get to that. Like she was using very apparently bad grammar is the worst thing in Japanese, so she was doing that.
I love Japan so much. It was amazing. Rusev used to do that apparently.
Yeah.
When he used to just be shouting in Bulgarian, he was actually just swearing.
Yeah.
With the Bulgarians, thought it was hilarious because no one would notice what he was doing. Then we had Kathy Kelly backstage with William Regal, and this is my one complaint I have about NXT every week, is that whenever William Regal gets interviewed, I have to mess around with the volume on my laptop to hear what he's saying, then you have to turn it down when someone else walks into the room. You've got Kathy Kelly walking in and be like, Mr. Regal, I've really got to ask you about this situation. And Regal will go, well, I really need to talk about this, but actually I need to talk about the Street Profits as well and what they're going to do. The Forgotten Sons walk in and be like, Regal, what are you doing? Oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. Do you want a match? Yes, we want a match. I'm like, I'm fighting with the remote control here.
Stop talking during a sigh, Regal. It's weird.
So yeah, I've written here, he says what happened to Candice was bad. Forgotten Sons walk in and talk about making matches. Brackets, ask Laurie.
Yeah, it didn't. I didn't get it either. But the end. The long and the short of it is the Forgotten Sons were annoyed that they lost their match to the Street Profits last week, and they thought they should get another title match because Street Profits shouldn't be allowed to make a title match
because reasons.
Yeah, and he said you're at the back of the line now, so toodle pip. And then he said only Lorcan and Danny Burch should have a chance.
Yes, they're getting a match next week, and Riker says at the end that they won't forget this.
But this is also the fallout of the match was that at the end of the match there's a beatdown on the Profits, and Burch and Lorcan run out to stop it.
Right.
And so then there's a standoff in the ring that's a bit tense because Lorcan won't quite give back the belts that they've been holding.
Oh, nice.
And then Danny makes him give him back, and he goes, "Yeah, but you owe us."
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, whoa. Danny Burch, not the sort of man you want to owe anything for.
Absolutely not. No.
It's just a really quick job, mate. It's just a really quick job. Just in and out. Just drive the car. That's all I need you to do.
I would love it if this led to a Jackson Riker versus William Regal match at a takeover.
Yes.
That'd be amazing. William Regal getting back inside a wrestling ring. I bloody love William Regal.
Real man's man.
Oh, especially if he came out to that music as well. I mean, he'll come out to whatever his music again. Then we got, actually, this is probably my favourite thing on the show. This was Adam Cole's Beyblade Championship Celebration Tour Week 2.
Yep.
This was fabulous celebration.
Wasn't it? So week 1 he was at Download Festival saying he's defending the title around the world.
Has Download been and gone?
Yeah.
Ah.
So
Cool.
that's where all the NXT UK stuff was filmed. So
Right.
a bunch of that was from Download. So yeah, he goes to Download and he defends the title there against Dave Mastiff, I believe.
The bastard.
Yeah, and then comes back on the plane and he lands and has his phone call with Roddy. And then we cut to here where he's gone to Gargano's Pizza.
Yeah, this was great.
The legit pizzeria owned by Johnny Gargano's family.
Papa Gargano.
Papa Gargano. And he turns up, says, I've got 4 pizzas ordered.
Yeah.
Can you go get them?
And I actually thought Papa Gargano was doing some really solid acting here as well. He recognised him as soon as he walked in, which puts over Cole as a bit of a star. And then there's sort of tense moment where he's like, well, I've got to do my job. Here are your pizzas. But while he's going off to get the pizzas, Adam Cole takes a picture of himself and he pins it up on their Hall of Fame, which has just got pictures of Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae and a few other people. Oh, it was amazing.
Do you think they took down the Ciampa ones? If there were any Ciampa ones, like, Ciampa comes here Kushida all the time.
Yeah.
He's from a nice Italian family.
Yeah, but they might put him back up now that they made friends again.
Yeah. And then, and he says to him on the way out, like, I've put a picture over there of a real champion.
Yeah, that was really, really good. And then he goes to the wrestling school that Johnny Gargano visited when he was champion and sort of like let them hold the belt and things like that when they were putting over the Gargano's this local hero. And Cole goes there to essentially get this promo being like, no, he's not. He's full of crap. He's full of crap with what he said. And he said that seeing Gargano at this school just made me sad.
And the reason I brought you these pizzas are, I want you to take some pizza, go home, sit on the sofa, and give up.
And he targets a guy called Twan, I believe his name was, and said that you're not going to be an NXT champion. And he's like, I can if I believe. Like, don't buy into that. Yeah, absolutely you're not. Look at you. You're not going to be a champion. It was amazing. And he goes, seeing as though I've given you, I know you're paying for wrestling school, but let me give you some free advice. And his free advice was, get out of this school, get out of this town, and find yourself a new hero. This was amazing.
It was great Adam Cole work.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't even call it heel work. I just call it Adam Cole work. He was just doing a very good Adam Cole.
This is great. So, but I guess then we are probably leading to Gargano Cole 3 at Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that seems to be the case.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you would like if you were just the bookers after the first 2 matches, you're just like, well, it has to happen.
It's the same with like Gargano Ciampa last year. You're just like, well, I mean, that was so good. We could do more of this, and there's so much more story to get out of this. We can easily extend this out. It doesn't feel like it's been artificially extended out. Like, for example, Seth versus Baron has been. Like, that's been going on since WrestleMania. And it feels like it's never ending. Yeah. Whereas this, I'm watching, I'm like, I could watch this for another month.
Because it keeps stalling as well. There's no actual, like... Of course they were going to have, of course Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano were going to have another match because the last one was so good. But they keep finding ways to build the intrigue. I was like, how are they going to get a story going with Johnny again now that this has happened? Because it would be boring if he just came out and was like, I deserve that title. It's like, well, you did lose, and it's a bit illegitimate. But Cole going on a gloating tour around Johnny's hometown.
Oh yeah, messing with his family pizzeria.
It's like, and that gives him a legit reason to be like, I don't even want the belt anymore. I just want to beat you up.
Yeah. I'd like to go to Gargano's pizzeria. I bet it's actually really nice.
Let's ring him.
Let's ring him. Then we had Kushida versus Bandana Boy. It was Jeff Parker, I believe his name was. But Kushida dominated and then won.
Squashida, yeah.
Yeah, Squashida, nice.
It was really good. I thought it was a very good.
Kushida's very good.
Yeah, Kushida just went, this is my showcase.
Yeah.
Here are all of my best moves. It was fab. There was the arm breaker thing that he did. I loved as well. Like it was like the Pentagon one taken up a level because he did this whole like he walked one arm around on itself until he had it in the lock and then just falls backwards. And
I love it as well because the commentators were doing a really good job of kind of like putting Kushida over and saying that, look, there's so many people in WWE that want to have a match with Kushida. Like they are coming out of the woodwork to say, I want a match with Kushida. And that's what Kushida brings to the table.
Yeah, I got that. Like I like that bit of commentary, but then that jarred with me with what they're showing on the screen because I was like, well, how did he get to the front of the line?
Yeah, fair enough.
Jeff Parker put his name down so long ago. He was on the mailing list for Kushida coming to WWE.
Well, he was like, the breakout
put me
tournament.
in, I want to know.
Yeah, you couldn't get in the breakout tournament, it's fine. Cathy Kelly interviewed Tyler Breeze, and he said that the Undisputed Era wants to take credit for NXT, but he needs to give them a refresher that this was once NX Breeze before they showed up. Good stuff from Tyler Breeze. He's now in the intro as well of NXT, so he is definitely back there. Oh yeah.
Full time.
Speaking of which, so is Killian Dane. He's coming soon. Has this been going on for a while, these videos?
They've had a couple of these little video packages. I think actually maybe only 1 week they had them. I didn't quite catch all of it the last time and sort of missed what the footage was, but they seem like they're doing Trouble Z style stuff. I don't know. It's a bit odd.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see what we're doing with Killian Dane now that Sanity is dead and buried.
I think you will be excited once you have seen it.
Oh yeah,
having seen the spoilers, it's quite fun.
Ooh, interesting. Thank you for the tease there, Randy. That's nice. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I mean, I'm a big fan of Killian Dane.
It's a different guy. that's what
it was like, and he was one of those guys where you'd think, I mean, you're tailor-made for the main roster, aren't you? You're such a big dude, and you're so athletic, and you're so like gifted in the ring that Vince should easily fall in love with.
Too hairy.
But that's good.
Vince doesn't like but he doesn't like a specific look of big guy, and he doesn't like Luke Harper has fallen into that same trap. Eric Rowan is doing well, I guess, but like I think he'd easily be on that same list of people who's like he's good if he's a henchman. He's not good if he's like the main event guy.
Yeah.
So Killian Dane will struggle, I think, in that regard.
I just think he's
what Lars had
so
going
good
for him was that he was bald and had limited hair.
Yeah. Big shoulders. He was like one of the standouts of that first War Games. Like really, really good. And that ladder match as well, the North American ladder match. He was amazing in it.
He's a good guy to have in NXT as well because obviously he's run wrestling schools and done all that stuff. So like it's a perfect place to have him because he's got so much to pass on. Like
Beast of Belfast is coming back. Then we got the Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Cameron Grimes match. And we got a promo for NXT TakeOver Cardiff, a show that no one's going to. And then we got Bianca Belair versus the burial of that. Bianca Belair versus the Pink Ranger. I didn't get her name.
She wasn't the Pink Ranger. She was like Mylena from Mortal Kombat. I thought you would have noticed that. Was that
what she's going for?
The sort of weird arm. The segment.
I just thought she was wearing pink, and I was like, I needed a name for her. So it was
purple
the first thing.
Mylena gear.
Yeah, I didn't pick up that Nyla Rose was a Killer Instinct character at Fyter Fest, which I really should have picked up on. Bianca kind of like, she fires off a forearm right at the start because I guess that this girl was saying something that she didn't like, and then just started wailing on her. She killed this poor girl.
Well, she shoved her, didn't she? She like sort of face scrubs her, and then Bianca Belair just goes, "Okay, well, I'm going to push you now."
Yeah.
And just goes nuts. It's amazing.
Nuts,
It's Priscilla Zuniga.
Is that her name, was it? Yeah. Cool, thank you very much. She does like squats while doing a press slam and hits 2 power bombs, and her finish for the win.
Yeah.
Good stuff, actually. I was surprised we got this match because we'd already had 3 matches at this point, and they've been advertising that the main event was Roderick Strong versus Tyler Breeze.
Yeah.
So when Bianca Belair came out, I was like, wow, we're getting another match in here. This is actually really good for an hour show where you got promos and like the Adam Cole segment, backstage stuff with Kathy Kelly. It's such a... There's not a wasted moment in that hour of NXT.
No, and you could tell this one as well because watching it, they didn't do any. They like the NXT, the Takeover Cardiff thing was the only like WWE internal advertorial stuff that they had.
Didn't have anything for T-shirts.
They didn't have anything for T-shirts. Didn't have anything for Extreme Rules or anything like that.
The Performance Center
like,
YouTube channel.
Yeah, the Performance Center. Like it was. They genuinely used the entire slot for the program.
It was a very economical show, is what it was. Bianca Belair won. I don't know where we go with Bianca Belair from here.
I think you put her. I think this is the beginning of a holding pattern.
Oh yeah.
This is she'll do some squashes every so often, and then she'll start to build back in. But they got to do the fallout of whatever happens at Toronto, whatever happens between Shirai and LeRae, and then Bianca Belair fits in somewhere in that. But I guess like maybe if the Street Profits are going up, if I was Paul Heyman, I'd be like. Her as well.
I'm taking Belair with me.
Absolutely, you
put her on the main roster.
Absolutely would because she's incredible.
So good,
and I think she'll she'll stand out on that women's division.
That's the key to it. She will completely stand out from the rest of the pack, and then it's like a fresh coat of paint for a second. Then you don't have sort of the stench of the losing 2 times to Shayna Baszler and having to rebuild back in NXT.
She would feel like a legitimate challenger to Becky.
Yeah,
like she really would.
Yeah,
because you could do the whole like I get that you're like. The man and you've got this attitude or whatever, but look at all of my acumen. Like this is all of my athletic acumen. I'm not coming here to tell you that you're unladylike or whatever.
Plus you can redo the undefeated gimmick because you can just say, well, NXT doesn't count anyway, so we'll just start doing you're undefeated from now on.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got a hype video for Matt Riddle doing some MMA training and being a little bro.
I liked this.
That was cool.
I feel sorry for the dummy.
Yeah.
Just got caned.
It did look like, and I mean, I don't want this to sound like a slight against
He's
MMA wrestlers.
Jelly baby.
Yeah, it did felt like it was a kid
beating up a jelly baby.
A kid in his room wrestling with a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Just being like, I'm going to do a wrestle now, and just flipping it over and like, I'm Ryu.
On the away day, Joe Hendry showed me some wrestling moves.
Oh yeah.
Using a pillow.
Oh yeah,
and it was
great.
The funniest thing I think I've ever seen. Someone of his size using a pillow. I was like, this is amazing. So look out for our bit of content where we're going to start getting wrestlers to do moves on pillows because I just think it would be hilarious.
It's really funny. And then we got the official announcement next week. Street Profits will defend their tag titles against Birch and Lorcan, which I am very much looking forward to. And then we got our main event, which was Roderick Strong versus Tyler Breeze. Tyler landed hard on his back on those ring steps from a backbreaker from Roderick Strong. Oh, it's like right in the corner.
That was a cool spot as well, because I like the fact like Roddy sort of slipped off the steps before, and then it sort of like, but it was a trick, and it was like he pops up and catches Breeze as he pops up to see where he is, and just goes dunk
donk. Oh,
did you see the fan next to Roderick Strong? He just goes, "Get back in the ring, you turd!"
Amazing. Breeze did some dives off the apron with a forearm and a big super kick to Strong, but he hit this super kick to Roderick Strong that the commentators were really sort of like trying to cover up for. I just figured he kicked him in the back of their head. Like, I thought the idea was he pushed him into the ropes and then kicked him in the back of the head. But they were like, I think he was trying to clip the foot round. I don't think he hit all of it. I wasn't sure. What did you make of it?
I basically missed it, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. In that I was sort of in between getting... I actually struggled to get into this match as much as I thought. I thought I would be really into it, and it sort of actually felt like filling until the Undisputed Era run in, actually. It didn't have it didn't escalate quite at the same way that some of the other Undisputed, especially Roderick Strong matches have. Like, it didn't have that sort of escalation point where this big thing happens. It just, I don't know, it didn't do it for me, weirdly.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good, but it wasn't like... It wasn't a great main event. It wasn't like you were just saying then the Io Shirai, Shayna Baszler, go out your way to see this. I don't think I would say to anyone, go out of your way to see this.
Yeah.
I would probably say go out of your way to see Isaiah Scott versus Cameron Grimes.
Yes.
But I don't think I'd tell anyone to go out their way to watch this match.
No, it was like it served the angle nicely,
Yeah.
I think, and puts Roddy firmly in that North American title picture.
Yeah, which is the key to this. Is they're pushing Roderick Strong for this North American Championship shot, and they were saying because he picked up the win at the end of it, and they were like, that really does put him now. That he's on a winning streak. He really should be in line now for the NXT North American Championship and kind of get some more gold in the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, exactly. I think potentially Toronto has the ability to be that show where that is kind of what's on the line.
Strong versus Dream.
Yeah.
Strong
versus Dream.
Well, I mean, I thought it was
a big strong dream.
I thought it was a good show. It was a packed show is certainly what I would say. And the hour flew by, but it wasn't like an all-time great episode of NXT.
No, it did sort of enough. It was actually very much the, like, we're moving on to the next branch of the story. So this is all kind of serviceable stuff that builds people but doesn't actually advance the narrative of NXT.
We're
beyond
6 weeks
Cole,
out.
Beyond Cole.
We're 6 weeks away from Toronto, so it's that level of show.
Yeah, it's that. We're gonna start to step things up and build things, you know.
But as I said at the top of the show, like, I think because I haven't been around for 3 weeks with the black and yellow brand, it's actually just really nice to be there. I like being back in Full Sail and watching the show. And as I said, because it's so wonderfully economic, it's an easy watch. So yeah, it was a good show. It's just not an all-time classic.
No, but I think we're going to start seeing the pieces fall in place now.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be Mia Yim will finally be in the room with Baszler.
But
that's the sort of stuff we're going to start seeing now. Is like Cole and Gargano will stare down, that kind of thing.
But I will say this breakout tournament thing, as soon because I had no idea it was going on until this match started and like the graphics came up for it. Instantly, I'm sitting up and I'm like, well, I love this tournament already.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm excited to see what this tournament has got because I think that you are using this as a really good way to introduce new stars and create stars out of it. And that's great. So I'm really in for this tournament.
And I think the tournament is such a fantastic idea. I think tournaments on NXT are always really good anyway. But I think this specific one is a great way to use a bunch of guys that we know you've had for ages as well. Like we know they've all been there for a while. We've seen all the pictures of them, you know, getting their grey t-shirts and stuff. So it's good to see them finally being used to do something, and also something that doesn't actually have to impact the wider story you've been telling for a lot longer, but does give somebody a star-making opportunity out of it as well, because you can win that tournament and you could go for the North American title and probably win that comfortably and people wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
But you could go for the NXT title and have a losing effort to the current champion that makes people go, oh, he took him to the limit.
Yeah, you look great in the process.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, thinking about it, this would be a much better way to have the Mae Young Classic. If you're doing the Mae Young Classic this year, don't give it its own show where you're like loading it all in one batch and expecting people to essentially binge watch it, which is because not everyone's watching the Mae Young Classic.
No.
But if you put it on NXT where there are more eyes watching it, you might actually get more out of it. I think it might be a better use. But anyway, Randy Andy Edson, what do people send up in them
let's
super chats?
Bash through the super chats. The Gecko17, thank you very much for your generous donation.
Thank you kindly.
Craig Brown is in to say, did anyone see Lewis Capaldi coming out to Shane McMahon theme song at Glastonbury?
I don't know who or what a Lewis Capaldi is.
Lewis Capaldi is a 22-year-old Scottish singer who is sort of a breakout star.
He's hilarious on social media as well.
Okay.
He's been in a feud currently with Noel Gallagher.
He
came out to Shane McMahon's theme, but dressed as a Gallagher.
He looks quite a lot like a potato, but he is just really funny and just sort of seems really down to earth and just kind of like, I'm famous, but whatever.
Okay.
But apparently he is a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
So because
he's come out to Shane. He comes out to Shane McMahon's entrance music at most shows.
And someone I know from another YouTube channel on the YouTube, he met Lewis Capaldi at a signing, and he went, "You're that guy from Thingy," so that he clearly watches wrestling YouTube as well. So if you're watching, Lewis, you're great.
Come do something with us.
Yes.
Sorry.
Come hang out.
Sorry, I didn't know who you were.
No, and sorry I said you look like a potato.
This is why. This is why.
Just a two-ball guy says, for my favourite NXT review duo, keep it up.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's good to be back doing the NXT reviews after 3 weeks. It's nice.
Tim Arndt says, heading back to uni next week, you guys are the main thing that keeps me sane. Cheers, guys.
No, thank you. And good luck at university.
Yes.
Yeah. But enjoy it.
Studying psychology.
He's studying psychology.
He is.
Very, very nice, yeah. My university years were mixed. I didn't do very well in like the studying bit.
Mixed match challenge.
I had a great time at university, but it was a different time, and it cost a lot less to go. So
it was.
It cost me a lot more to go.
So much less to go.
It cost so much less to go.
We went to university in a time where they're essentially just throwing money at you to go.
Do
you want to go to university? Money.
Yeah, that's how I bought a laptop at the end of the university. I had so much money left, I bought a laptop.
I bought so many action figures when I was at university. Like I used to work in a toy store. And like student loan day would come around and I'd just be like, right, Dan, it's time to get all that stuff that I put aside out. And he'd be like, right, total it all up. That's about 450 quid. And I'm like, put it on my card, mate. I've got loads of money now, apparently.
Yeah. I had to work
£1 pints as well.
£1 pints. Yeah.
I had to work 3 extra jobs at university because that's how little money we had.
Oh, I still worked. I worked at Game Station.
Yeah, I worked at Marks and Spencer.
In fact, actually, I would
argue. And they gave me even more money.
I would argue, working at Game Station, I put more effort into working at Game Station than I did in my university degree. There were times where I would just I'd fob off classes just to go and work at Game Station because I much preferred doing that.
Fair enough. T.Y. Oh So High says, who will be the second biggest star from the Undisputed Era?
The second biggest?
Second biggest. Good question. I mean, I was instantly going to say Kyle O'Reilly because he's so charismatic and he's an incredible wrestler. But I do wonder if he has got a style of wrestling that's not going to get over on the main roster because it's really designed for hardcore wrestling fans.
I still think it's Kyle. I still think it's Kyle. I think Roddy obviously will have various ins and outs, but he's not as an amazing heel as everyone else is. So you could go back to being face Roddy, but I didn't really buy into that as hard as I wanted to. He's sort of between. He's obviously I think he's probably the great the biggest in-ring showman of the lot, apart from Cole. But I think he's got that sort of style that would grab a mainstream wrestling audience, especially with all the backbreaker stuff. It's just so it is just so visceral and so cool. But yeah, I think his character work is a little.
I'm going to stick with Carl because as soon as he does that air guitar thing with the championship belt, it'll be gift beyond all belief, and then that'll be it. Gift for a main roster audience.
Jobber JJ says WWE's making Evolve a big deal on YouTube. Shame I'm watching AW. Speaking of AW, when should they take their product to mainstream?
They already have, haven't they?
Yes, I thought.
Yeah, I'd say they already have.
Yeah.
Well,
they're clearly on TNT.
The interesting thing is they're clearly trying to diversify and speak to very different audiences because they're doing Fighter Fest being at the CEO fighting games tournament. They're clearly trying to there's obviously overlap there, but it's not one-to-one overlap. So they're trying to bring new people in through other avenues at the same time as doing a regular sort of hardcore wrestling show and be like, well, you already like this.
I'd say them going on to TNT, them striking up deals with ITV, and being with Bleacher Report and things like that, I think they already are mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's hard to argue they're the second biggest wrestling company in the world at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The Gecko17 says, "Hi gentlemen, I love your content. My question is, if you could have 2 guys on the main roster have an NXT-style match on a takeover, who would it be?"
Oh, that's really good.
Seth and Finn.
Ooh.
Or Finn and Shinsuke.
Ricochet and Finn.
Good shout.
AJ and anyone.
Joe and Ricochet.
Dana Brooke and Mandy
Joe.
Rose
There you
for
go.
25 minutes.
Ember could carry Dana Brooke.
Sasha and Asuka.
Sasha and Asuka's a great shout. What's the latest? Have we heard anything from Sasha Banks?
She is on WG. She's filmed some stuff for 2K20, so people think she's coming back,
Right.
possibly to like help Bailey and something.
Black AJ.
Good shout. Great shout.
Got there in the end.
Oh,
Just
great
a
answer.
2-ball guy says, "I just became a newly minted $25 backer.
Nice.
How do I get my shout-out nickname to you? Also, I'm enjoying the loads of new content. You guys are the best."
To be honest, mate, you've already got it, really. If you're a 2-ball guy, you're just a 2-ball guy.
Just a classic 2-ball
Just a
guy.
classic 2-ball guy. You'll go onto the shout-outs list.
Yeah.
So we spread them out over videos, and you'll have your name in one of the videos eventually.
William Buena, thank you for your
Might be
donation.
towards the end of the month.
TYO So High says, "Do you think one wild card every week should be from NXT?"
We don't have wildcards anymore. That's not a thing. They're just everyone's just on across the brands now. There's no mention of wildcard anymore.
No, I think, but again, the revolving door should be open. It should just be, you should be able to just come up and go down. And clearly, like Street Profits have proven that they were the wild card, I guess, this week from NXT, but they didn't do anything with it.
No,
particularly.
Yeah.
So I think if you're going to do it for a match, because doing it for like a backstage angle is
doing it
just,
for yucks is
it just makes it feel pointless. I don't know.
Yeah.
Expect a Fight says, "Finally the Pledgehammer has arrived.
There he
Bianca
is.
Belair was impressive again."
Yeah, and nice to hear from you, Expect a Fight. I think she is very good. When she was doing those press slams, she had there in the press slam position and just started squatting. But it looked like it required no effort on Bianca's part whatsoever.
She is married to Montez Ford. Could she be coming up with the Street Profits?
Well, that's what
did you
Laurie
say
said
that?
earlier, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cheers for
Thanks for
listening,
listening,
mate.
No worries. Hey, I've got to interact with these lovely fans. Flint Mech says, "Favorite detail of the show was Regal subtly grabbing his brass knuckles from his desk when Forgotten Son stormed in."
Yeah, he's great. I just love the fact that he's got the brass knuckles on his desk. It's such a nice little character touch. That, and there's a picture of Blackpool in the background. Like a really lovely picture of Blackpool. So good.
Jeremiah Jones, thank you for your donation. Jay Derazinski says, "Is Tyler Breeze the new vet who always loses to put over the younger guys? He hasn't won a match since returning."
Yeah, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that role, but I think you can certainly get him into a storyline.
Yeah,
because he is so good. And he should be used more than being the vet that loses all the time.
Yeah, but he was robbed in this one. It's not like this loss wasn't his fault, really.
No.
The match was interfered with.
That's true, yeah.
In one way or another.
And he did dispatch off the era.
Yeah, exactly.
And he feels like he's in a feud with them, right? Like that's a thing, yeah?
He was on. That was really well done. He was on ENC's podcast with Fandango like a year or so ago, and he just seems like one person who just wants to wrestle. Doesn't matter where it is, he just wants to wrestle. So I think it's a very good place for him to be, basically.
You're quite hip, aren't you, Andy? Because you didn't say the Edge and Christian podcast. No, you're too short-handed for that. You've got to be the E&C podcast.
Well, yeah, your WR podcast that I would listen to every day.
He doesn't call it a podcast anymore. He just calls it a listen jam.
An ear biscuit.
The big P.
Jer Personen says, "Let's go Brazil."
Let's go.
Football.
Oh,
okay.
Joshua Lieberman.
Soccer ball.
Joshua
Touchdown.
Lieberman says, "When will Orange Cassidy have his first match with AEW?" Well, he already was in there.
Yeah, he's already had his first match. He was in the Battle. He's not signed with AEW. It was just, I think it was a cameo appearance. So, and it was just there to pop the crowd. So I don't know. To be honest, with AEW, it's the sort of thing we don't know what this sports-centric thing means. If you want to like steer away from like really comedy, because he's a comedy wrestler. If you don't want comedy wrestling in your show, then you're not going to hire Orange Cassidy.
No, true. I think it's...
Then again, they have got a dinosaur there.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be sports-centric in that manner, is it? It's going to be given the sporting vibe.
Yeah, and wins and losses.
But definitely be a very wrestling-focused thing. I think like until they get a weekly show, they've got so many other people who are signed to deal with and to give screen time to that someone like Orange Cassidy is going to have to wait.
Yeah, he's so good, though.
He is.
Has that always been his gimmick?
Orange Cassidy.
Sorry?
Has it always been his gimmick? Or have you ever seen him like wrestle a proper match?
That's what I've always seen him do. Yeah. I was watching.
It'd be interesting to see if he could do like a proper.
Well, he can do because he does like as a match progresses, he starts doing the full wrestling. But it's just the start of the match is the very sort of lackadaisical thing. After Super Showdown, I felt like I needed a palate cleanser, so I fell into like a hole of watching Orange Cassidy matches in my taxi ride home. And I watched him have a match with Gentleman Jervis, which was so funny. That's the one where he puts him to sleep and tries to put the pillow on him.
And then pin him.
And the referees go out to sneeze while he's counting the pinfall. I'm like, don't sneeze. And then he sneezes and Orange Cassidy wakes up. It was so funny. And then I watched him. It was him and Session Moth versus Jordan Grace and Brian Cage. So you've got Orange Cassidy, lackadaisical Orange Cassidy, and Session Moth, who is just like a big ball of energy, versus these two machines in Brian Cage and Jordan Grace. It was so much fun. And then I watched the follow-up match of Orange Cassidy defending his title against Jordan Grace. It was so good. It was amazing.
Did he fall asleep in her bear hug?
No, he didn't. It's all of his spots are built around him putting his hands in his pockets.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But the bit that really tickled me, that I was like, "This is why I love this man," is he brought his title belt down to the ring in a backpack. So he had a backpack over his shoulder. And he gets to the ring, undoes the backpack, pulls the title belt out. So good. And I was like, right, where's his website? T-shirt, buy. I'm having one of those.
Expector Fight says, who do you think would take better care of Velveteen's dream character long term, Heyman Bischoff or HHH?
That's an interesting question. Bischoff's at the bottom of the list. He'll become Disco Inferno. Yeah. I'm going to say Triple H because he's kind of been there from day dot. So he knows where it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's clearly got a plan for him.
Yeah, I'd say Triple H now.
Jeremiah Jones, thank you, WrestleTalk, for being the best wrestling podcast in the world. Seriously, love the channel. I've been a member since 2016.
Thank you very much. That predates me.
That predates when I knew about it too. Zachary Marsh says, love you guys so much. The best combo on WrestleTalk.
Ah. So that's a very nice thing to say. I don't personally agree.
Definitely not Randy.
I was going to say, I don't think he means me. Jeremiah Jones says, also I was thinking about if Deadpool was in Endgame. Imagine if Deadpool was screaming, trying to convince Ant-Man to go up Thanos' butt.
I could have done without it. But then again, I don't think Deadpool's very funny. So...
I like Deadpool, but yeah.
Limps.
He definitely belongs in his own universe.
Yeah.
Limps says, got paid on a side job today. Thought of sharing some of it with the WrestleTalk team. Cheers, Luke, Laurie, Randall, Keith, Datsun, Swaff Nation, Blake Ham, if he's still a perfect piece of crap. Breeze's steel steps bump was friggin' brutal.
Really was.
Yeah.
That was a great bump to take. I just hope that it was like, I think he's okay, but man, a little rough as hell.
Caleb Maldonado says, saw a video of Kid being asked by not Renee Young a series of... Saw a video...
This is the CM Punk thing, right?
The Superstars catchphrase... Oh, yeah, saw a... Yeah. So there was a kid in the crowd who they were like, oh, who's the best in the world? And he just goes, CM Punk. But they thought he was going to say Shane McMahon.
Yeah, of course.
And why would you... Because that's not really what I associate with Shane McMahon.
No, but that's what they associate with him.
Because he says it, doesn't mean...
That's his gimmick. He's the best in the world. It's obviously the answer they weren't expecting. But I think I told the story on a show before, but we got an email from Jaron Walker at, I think it was the Raw After Mania, when they were doing that thing. It was like for the live crowd, and they like show up on the big screen, and they bring up people who've like got their signs, and there's like, oh, what's your sign saying? And it's like, well, I love AJ, or what this. And then he goes to one person's sign, and it's a sign that says, is it too soon to boo Roman? As quickly as they could cut away from it.
Wow. Trucker Ida Crow says, did you see Ronda's new video teased coming back?
I didn't see it, but I saw of it. I saw of it on Twitter this morning. Said she wants to come back to wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when? Jobber JJ.
Pregnant.
Yeah, well, if that hasn't worked out, maybe she got bored of that.
Yeah, I didn't take.
It hasn't
What
happened.
do you mean we have to wait until next month?
Yeah, this hasn't gone as I planned. We'll go to Fox. We'll get some Fox money, and then we'll
buy a baby.
We'll buy one.
Jobber JJ says, "Do you have a hero? Mine is Michael Schumacher. Who, for non-sports fans, that is a former 7-time Formula One world champion."
I know who Michael Schumacher
who is.
We grew up in the 90s.
No, I
I
didn't mean for
Schumacher
you. I meant for
is.
other non-sports fans. He is currently in a very bad state. He had a very bad accident a few years ago.
Really?
So he has been in a coma for a very long time, and he may not recover, unfortunately.
That's sad news. I suppose Mike Patton, Faith No More. He's like my favourite singer in the world. So maybe he's a hero, I guess. I don't really aspire to be because I can't sing. I don't know. What about you?
I don't have any heroes.
Don't have any heroes?
No.
Do you know who my brother's hero was?
Don't meet your heroes. I stick by that. Don't have any heroes because then you don't have to meet them.
Yeah, that's very true. My brother's hero when he was a kid and actually into his teens was Rolf Harris.
Oh, that's so
know,
brutal.
I know.
Can you guess what it is yet? A crushing disappointment.
I know, he really was.
My hero is Adam Pacitti. Zaim Kazi says, "Hey guys, love from Pakistani Canadian." I actually know another one of those. Do you think they'll send Yui, Undisputed Era, to the main roster
So multicultural.
and hold back to pay off?
Look at him. He's basically a living metropolis.
Do you want me to read that one again?
Yes, please.
Do you think they'll send the Undisputed Era to the main roster and hold back to pay off Gargano versus Ciampa?
I don't know. I mean, the fantasy booker in me wants to see Finn turn heel and join the club, and then you do the club versus the Undisputed Era for all of 2020.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah.
Tim Arndt, thank you for your donation. Tomo is back in with a very generous donation. It says, "Hello, Mr. Owen, Mr. Blake, and Mr. Datson. Love watching and listening to you guys every day. I also love talking to the members of the SWAF Nation, spreading love for all."
Oh, it's very nice of you. It's nice to have you around.
We have some kind of regulars in the chat who always talk to all the kind of new people. And it's very
lovely.
Very lovely.
We've got a wonderful community.
It really, really is.
Genuinely
and if you want
warms
to
the
join it, join Discord. We've got over 4,300 members, so join that and you'll get to make lots of new friends. Jeb Sonnen says, "Every time I watch Wrestle Talk, it's lovely time with the boys. I love SWAF Nation." Should we rename the WrestleRamble Lovely Time with the Boys?
Lovely time with the boys.
Welcome to the post NXT Lovely Time with the Boys.
Jeb Sonnen, his suggestion for WrestleRamble Extra, I'm trying to find it. I think it was Night of Champions 2009.
I have no idea what happened.
It's CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy as the main event for the world title. But I don't think that's winning the poll at the moment because, unsurprisingly, it is Invasion that is currently winning. I think it's the outwinner as well. It's got 43% currently.
Wow, that's one of the biggest ever, surely.
Jeb Sonnen's suggestion of Night of Champions 2009, it's got 4% of the votes.
Oh, keep going, Jer. Ziad Wawa says, "First time super chatter, long time watcher, finally watching you live all the way from Australia. Boys, keep my greenkeeping job a breeze. Love you all." Oh, that means you work on a golf course. I'm playing golf with Simon on Saturday.
Stop talking about sports.
On
Limps says...
this sports show.
Sports entertainment.
Limps says, "Luke, please do your best in the world for the SWAF Nation."
God, it's so warm in here. Hang on, let me give a quick...
It's really hot.
You genuinely might.
Properly sweating.
I'm leaning forward because it's helping the water to run off my back.
I know, I keep doing like a...
I had a moment earlier when I put my arms and I was like, I think that was an error on camera. I think I look like a right state. The best in the world! Shane McMahon.
Zach
Oof.
Econ Lindner says, "Shucky ducky quack quack."
Shucky, I miss Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. We don't get that anymore on the old podcast and the WrestleRambles. But that's an old school reference.
Michael Domingo says, "Y'all think Kushida is getting the Shinsuke push?"
What's the Shinsuke push?
Lots of
Pushed into a dark match on SmackDown.
His music will change to Japanese lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what a Shinsuke push is, if there is a specific Shinsuke push.
Oh, well, Shinsuke's push specifically was he came in and had an amazing match with Sami Zayn and then had a series of squashes, didn't he? But I don't think Kushida's even having that because he's had some very good, fairly fair matches with Drew Gulak.
Yeah.
And so I think they're doing a much more interesting thing with Kushida, I think, than the typical. This was obviously a placeholder squash type thing, but they're clearly building to this idea that maybe people from everywhere else in the company are going to turn up and challenge Kushida because they hear that he's such like an important sort of once in a lifetime star.
I love that idea as well, particularly if it's a name from the main roster as well. Like when it's Drew Gulak, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know he's cruiserweight champion now, but it's still that 205 live level. But if it was like a name from like if Finn Balor came to NXT to be like, I want a match with him.
Yeah.
That would
heard he's really good.
I heard he's amazing. That would be great.
You fucking idiot.
It's not a time travel machine.
Michael Dominguez.
Those aren't even real glasses.
It's just a drawing on wrist tape. I can see it from here.
Michael Dominguez says,
but I am a real demon. I'm sorry, I did it to annoy you, Randy.
Michael Dominguez says, which main roster should go back to NXT?
Killian Dane.
Oh,
yeah.
Good answer.
The rest of sanity. Except Alexander Wolf, who's got a good thing going on in NXT UK. So.
Yeah. Eric Young.
Renee Young.
Robert Roode.
Ziad Wah says, it's odd watching you guys. I'm used to having you on in my pocket around 3 to 4 hours a week, but now I'm looking at your bald heads.
Because of the podcast,
He's actually written bald heads, so maybe he thinks you have bald heads.
Yeah. I'm guessing because you're a podcaster, not a podswafter. Yeah. It's nice of you to join us on the live stream, actually. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us.
And for those wondering, I've just put the fan Discord link in the chat so you can join via that. Jobber JJ says, Orange Cassidy versus Brian Alvarez was awesome.
Yeah, I heard that was one of the best matches over Mania weekend as well. That's what everyone said, that Orange Cassidy was the standout from WrestleMania weekend. Like everyone wanted to see his next match.
I just think he's fantastic. Yeah. He's just so good.
House Simon sent me like a documentary that someone did about him and sort of comedy wrestling in general, which I really need to check out, but I haven't had a chance to yet.
Expector Fight says NXT versus NXT UK. Which title versus title match would you rather see? Cole versus Walter or Baszler versus Storm?
I'm Cole Walter is where I'm going with that. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
As much as I love Tony Storm, I think the Storm Zero is rubbish. Jobber JJ says, Andy, you are a legend for knowing who Michael Schumacher is. I know I am.
I think that's.
We all know who Michael Schumacher is.
That he was a Formula One racer.
No, you don't know his record. And he's added, Luke, if you want to know who he is, watch Spain '96 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the 90s. Yeah, I'm well aware who he is. I'm pretty sure he had many video games based on his name.
Wait, what's the name of your generation? Because I'm obviously...
We're millennials.
Are we all millennials?
Yeah, we all are.
Okay.
We were born after 1980. We were born between 1980 and 2000, so we're all millennials.
Okay.
We're who the Daily Mail hates.
Yes.
But actually, they're talking about they're talking about the generation after us.
We're immigrants.
We're ruining...
No, sorry, I got it wrong. Wrong people the Daily Mail hates. Sorry.
Well, no, they doubly hate me because I actually am an immigrant.
Filthy.
Tim Arn says, if Ronda couldn't get pregnant with Travis, then she should try with Becky.
Well, I mean, Maria seems to think it's possible, yeah.
Did you see Becky's tweet when WWE announced the pregnancy and she just said, you're welcome?
Nice.
Expector Fight says, last thing, for the record, I became a pledgehammer due to the Robert Roode music being played during reviews. More, please.
Well, he's not on TV, so we can't do it.
That's true.
Yeah.
We've been cutting him out of the TV clip.
Yeah.
Drugs Bunny and Aaron Shepherd, thank you very much for your generous donations. And the last one for today is from Ziad Wawa, who corrected me. He's not a golf greenkeeper. He is a lawn bowls greenkeeper, which is very niche, but that's
cool.
A lot of fun.
My father-in-law plays bowls. My granddad used to play it as well.
Oh, do you know what? I went to watch it once when I was covering for the newspaper. I used to, because I worked in a very old little village, and it's really quite fun. It's
great.
It's exciting because you never know when someone's going to get close to the whatever that little ball's called.
Yeah,
the jack. The jack. Yeah,
there you go.
It's very exciting.
Well, I mean, this has been some thrilling bowls chat here on the NXT podcast. But before
the post bowls, lovely time with the boys.
Right, let's shout out some $25 and above pledge hammers. I'll move that over so you can see that, bud. So yeah, if you want to get involved with this, head over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk and you can have your name shouted out in the WrestleRamble by these two handsome fellas here and Randy. And we kick things off with Jeremy Spoken, a class today, Smith. Hey! Get a cheap pop out of it as well.
The Incredible Tarzan!
Yeah, the chairman of the board, Jefferson.
There he is. Leisure Suit Larry.
Woo!
24/7 champ, our legend!
Woo! Big sexy, Jimmy Genslinger. Woo!
The Redneck, Dennis Hicks.
Woo!
I'll see it. Michael Plowman, that's his name. His name again is Michael Plowman.
Woo! Join him, John Iowa. Woo!
Big Bad, Blake Lloyd.
Woo!
Martin Santoyo, talking to me.
Yes, I am.
Woo!
Yes, I am.
The Perfect Storm, Noah Trombley. Woo!
Caught in a Travis Webb.
Woo!
Have a cup of tea, Lee.
Yeah, have a cup of tea.
And lastly, I think he's talking to you, Damian Thompson.
Hey, thank you all so much. And thank you to everyone for joining us for this very sweaty review of NXT, where I think we talked more about Michael Schumacher. So if you are watching on catch up, please do click the videos that have appeared on the desk and this button right here, which will make you a pledge hammer on Patreon so you can get your name shouted out as well. Make sure you pick up your copy of the WrestleTalk Almanac and head on over to Kickstarter, go to WrestlingArcade.com and back their amazing new project. Get involved with that. I've been Luke Cohen. This has been our fake door, Laurie Blake. That was Randy Andy Datson, and that were NXT.